Hello and welcome to this Carnegie Digital Bite. My name is Grant Geske. I am the Director of Marketing Technology at Carnegie Communications, and today we're going to talk about Google Tag Manager for higher education and 5 reasons why, as a higher education marketer or admissions marketer, it's essential. So, to start off this vlog, I wanted to just give you an idea of what Google Tag Manager is and what it can do. Google Tag Manager is a bucket where you can place other codes for tracking. Those codes include things like Google Analytics or GA for short, Google Optimize, conversion pixels, AdWords remarketing tags, basically, Google Tag Manager allows you to take tracking from a number of different platforms, put it into this container, and have a place for it on your website so that as a marketer, you can control what things you're tracking, what tools you're using, and that can be done very simply without the need for deep help from IT or developer. So now we'll go on and start to explain why you want to use Google Tag Manager in more detail. So first of all, this is a free offering from Google. So you don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to pay extra. Google Tag Manager is free. Second of all, it's future-proof. So in this ever-changing digital landscape with website redesigns and having to optimize for SEO and new analytics tools coming out and changing of CMSs and changing of CRMs, with all these choices in front of you, as you move forward in the future, no matter what path you choose, Google Tag Manager, because of the way that it's built and the way you place it into your website, future-proofs you to be able to adapt as things change and move into the future. The second one is you control your own destiny. And more specifically, this goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning when I was saying you've got this bucket that you can put code into. Well, in the past, in order to get different kinds of tracking code or conversion pixels for paid campaigns or other tools built into your website so you can get the most data possible, you would have to talk to IT or a developer, and you'd have to have them place and insert the code into the HTML of your website. Well, with Google Tag Manager, that's all changed. You now have a very user-friendly interface where you can build these tags, you can place these codes, and when you do that, by placing them within the Google Tag Manager interface, or GTM as we call it, you're putting it into that bucket. Once they're in that bucket, they're going to live on your website, and they're going to be able to do those things that you need to do as a marketer. So Google Tag Manager is incredibly empowering, and it allows you to take control of the different types of analytic tools and tracking and conversion pixels and other things that you might be using. The third thing is it really opens up the possibilities for what you can track. So you can track all the things. So in the past, in addition to wanting to add tools, if you wanted to enhance your tracking, again, you'd have to go to IT. You'd have to ask them to do some kind of event tracking which meant altering the code. Well, you don't have to do that with Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is built to allow you to use the code that's already there. And so it is very easy to start to track things like how many people are clicking on that Apply Now button. How about that Learn More button? What about the links in our menu? It can allow you to scroll track. Let's say you have a form on the page. You have different fields on that form. You can use Google Tag Manager to even understand where people are dropping from your form. So Google Tag Manager is very powerful because it allows you to take control, and it allows you to implement the kind of tracking that you need to implement without having to wait for IT to do it. So this saves time, it empowers you, and it makes sure that you're taking control of the things that you want to take control of. Another huge advantage in higher ed, because so many schools are using different vendors, they've got different users and different stakeholders. The interface where you are building out your tags allows for easy management. In the past, if you had this number of tags that you wanted to track, and you were trying to do that by implementing it into the code, keeping track of all the different tags meant endless spreadsheets, meant collaborating with IT to make sure that it was being implemented correctly. Well, with Google Tag Manager, you have a very user-friendly interface where you can organize and manage how these tags are being implemented. There's different environments, there's different user permissions. So because of that easy management and because of all the difficulties in terms of managing vendors and other stakeholders, Google Tag Manager is fantastic for higher ed because of that management aspect. Finally, and I think this is one of those added benefits that I like to talk about, and that is Google Tag Manager can actually help to speed up the load time of your pages. So, like a rocket ship, it can allow the speed of those pages to load much quicker. And it does that because, again, if we go back to this bucket that we're putting on your website, the huge advantage there is the fact that with that bucket, it's containing all that code. And so it can group that code and load it all at once rather than having each thing be loaded separately, holding up the website, holding up the loading times. And so one of the advantages to using Google Tag Manager is that instead of having all these separate pieces of code that have to be loaded as the page is loading, Google Tag Manager, the code there is loaded, which then loads all the rest of these codes. So with that, I'd like to tell you, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time. Again, Google Tag Manager, incredibly powerful tool. I've given you 5 reasons why. I could probably give you another 5. If you have any questions, you want any help, feel free to reach out. Carnegie Communications. My name is Grant Geske. I would love to work with you on setting Google Tag Manager up.